The Overwatch League is brought to you by Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet, gone.
It's been a day of 4 Overwatch as the LA Valiant pull off the clean sweep against the San Francisco Shock. That's 4-0. And with that, they are a clean 12-0 in maps so far this stage. They have not dropped a map since Custa and Space have been in the lineup. So we'll see if they can continue this hot streak when they face off against the Dallas Fuel later on this week. Speaking of the Dallas Fuel, they're in our next matchup where they'll be taking on the Seoul Dynasty. Now, as you all know, these two teams have a rival history that goes all the way back to Apex. A lot of the players from both squads have come across each other quite a few times in Korea. But here in the Overwatch League, both of these teams are starving for a win. So Blizzard Arena, are you guys ready for our final match of the night? Make some noise if you are. And on that note, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing going with our boys at the desk. Take it away, Puckett.
Thank you so much, Malik. That's right, it's the final match of the night. Make some noise, Blizzard Arena. It's hump day. You're not working. We're watching video games, baby. Pucky here at the desk. We've got Josh.
We're working.
We're
working.
Kind of. Predictions have been on point. I'll give you that so far. But it's been one-sided. Now I feel like this match is going to get a bit tighter because this is a historic battle we have seen over and over again. So talk us through, for anyone that is new to the Overwatch scene and may have missed all of the pre-Overwatch League matches, what's the history between these two squads?
Like Malik said, this dates back to Apex. So that was the premier tournament before the Overwatch League kicked off. and the old Dallas Fuel core used to be known as Envious, whereas the old Seoul Dynasty core used to be known as Lunatic High. And these two guys, or these two teams rather, represented the best team in the West against the best team in Korea. No longer the case for either of them, to be honest, but the games that we've seen in the Overwatch League so far have still contained that gravitas, that incredible rivalry between these two. And I feel like Dallas Fuel perform better every time they go up against Seoul. They always keep it close.
Exactly, because there is so much story and so much pride on the lineup here. You have to say, right, that the players going into this matchup, they will feel that rivalry and the storyline going into it. You want to be able to beat your nemesis in many ways, because as we said...
And Envious Dallas Fuel, they never have. That's the key as well. They are constantly second fiddle to Lunatic High, Seoul Dynasty.
Does Taimu play today? Do you put him back in it for the rivalry?
Just for the nostalgia.
I'd love to see it.
Come on, Dallas Fuel. Think about it, Kai. All right, let's start here with the Dallas Fuel, because this squad is 6-16 after their first 22 matches, but they've made some serious roster moves recently, Johnny.
I mean, this isn't really Dallas Fuel anymore or Envious. This is more like Rogue, right? Because you got Anko and AKM in there, of course, and you've added in Rascal as well. So a lot of new additions to this team, and it's not really the Dallas Fuel we knew going into the season. And I feel like this is a good mental reset for the team overall. They had some struggles, but now with new faces, new motivations, arguably you will see AKM on this Widowmaker. He practices a ton, and you will see Anko on the Zenyatta firing away. So in many ways, this is a fresh start for the Dallas Fuel, and I mean, grabbing a win versus the Seoul Dynasty would be a bit perfect.
They're already 1-1 after their first week of action, Josh.
Yeah, they are, but the iteration has been slow. They've added one piece, then seen if it works, added another piece, seen if it works. So I don't know whether they really have that mental fresh reset. We'll have to see, because they have a big new addition as well that's just come in.
Absolutely, and speaking of that new addition, we have Zoe down on the floor to tell us all about their new tank.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pocket. OGE is his name, and he will be on stage today within the starting 6. So I talked to the coach, Kai, about, well, OGE's roles and responsibilities within the team, and he said that ultimately, given his main tank role, they do want him to take over a lot of the shot calling. However, things are, as he just recently joined them, and he's not quite fluent in English just yet. This is still going to take some time. So he's going to take over a little bit of it, but for now, Anko and Rascal will still be doing the majority. They do ultimately, down the road, want him to take a bit of the leader role within that team, but that's still going to take some time. But first things first, let's see how he will be doing in his debut performance on stage.
GE debuting today, most likely. So, Josh, let's talk about this new South Korean tank being mixed into a very mixed lineup. You got the Frenchman on this team. You got Harry Hook from Spain. What is the comms going to look like right now, and how important is OGE going to be in that mix?
Well, I think the Dallas Fuel were kind of expecting or hoping that he would be like an angel sent from heaven, and now that he's appeared, perhaps they realize he is a mortal man after all. And I think that really what they needed was a leadership figure that had strong calls and this kind of stuff. And from the sound of it, that's going to take a long time to settle. But Dallas Fuel don't really have a long time to settle. They need to start seeing victories now, otherwise I think their mentality is going to go like washed away again.
Yeah, they need to start getting some wins here. And as I said, Rascal is one of the more vocal shot callers with Anko. So that makes you think, right? Okay, we have AKM in the lineup. Is it mostly going to follow Anko now?
He just has to say everything.
Yes. Now, I know Harry Hook is really good at calculating ultimates of the enemy team, etc. So maybe you just need some Discord target calling, and maybe Anko will be able to do that.
Seagull most likely on the bench. Mickey moving back to the Diva most likely. That's what we're expecting from Dallas on the other side. Real quick, let's hit this Seoul roster because they've been making moves of their own.
Yes, and I don't think it's a coincidence that they added Gambler to the roster and now they're playing roster roulette. They just seem to be kind of throwing things around all over the place. They've got Zephyr and Gambler in the mix at the moment. We didn't see them when they had their 4-0 victory against Seoul, but we did see both of them when they had their 4-0 loss to the LA Valiant.
Yeah, and this has to work out, right? Because now you're putting Sunba on the bench and you're putting in Zephyr. And why do you do that? We don't really know, because we haven't really noticed any big differences in the playstyle. So when it comes down to it, Seoul Dynasty, they've done a lot of substitutions in the past, but it has to start working. They are at the top of the scoreboard, but overall, this has been a pretty lackluster Seoul Dynasty. So they need to get the things together moving fast.
Last time Zumba was out of the lineup, Seoul walked away with a loss in that matchup. Something to keep in the back of your mind. Enough talking. Are you guys ready to start the final match of the day? Make some noise, Blizzard Arena, because it's time to meet your teams, starting with the squad from Texas. Give it up for the Dallas Fuel. Feck leading the charge, and if you watched him last week, one of the best individual performances we saw against the Shanghai Dragons today. He's playing alongside the new main tank in OGE. Will this squad go back to the dive?
Well, they need to revitalize something. Effect always seems to play better when he's kind of incredibly motivated or has a personal growth or rivalry and so on. But yeah, I feel like OGE really has to be the magic wand for this team. And by the sound of it, it'll take a little time for the pieces to all settle down. But Dallas Fuel's kind of been in disarray since this main tank roster got
absolutely.
Kind of
and now you're putting Mickey back on the off-tank role.
He's ready for a challenge today.
But
he'll have to juggle his defense matrix.
Oh. I mean, it makes you think, right? Because Seagull did great on the off-tank role. Will we ever see Seagull again? Who knows? Mickey is back in the starting roster today. We'll see if he has improved his off-tank capabilities, and we'll see if AKM and Unko will carry the weight.
I like that AKM is making a tiny heart with his thumbs very poorly. Unko just ignores the fact that a camera is on. Harry Hook, though, this is one of the original guys from this Envious lineup, one of the old guard for his squad today. With Unko in the mix, what heroes do you expect Harry to be on for support?
Mostly it's going to be the Lucio. That is what he's known for, but he has been grinding the other heroes, the Ana and the Zenyatta, so he has the capability to bring them out, but the Lucio is his best.
Dallas looking for another tight matchup as they're going up against one of the big three. Soul is playing for a top 2 position today, and it's time to introduce them to the stage. Please give it up for the Dynasty. 15-7 overall. They could lock up that number 2 seed in the overall standings with a win here, number 16. It's not going to be easy today with the current lineup. If you look at the starting 6, they don't have the best track record.
They don't have the best track record, and they've always been grinding out these wins. And today versus the Dallas Fuel, who is revitalized, I think this is going to be another grind for them if they want to win here today. It's never been easy for the Seoul Dynasty so far this season, and now you're putting in Gambler into the lineup. Maybe versus the Mercy, you're putting in Zephyr. We're not really sure what he's going to bring yet. So in my opinion, this is going to be a very tough game for the Seoul Dynasty, but they have to bring it out for once this game.
Now, having said that, they are unbeaten on 2 maps in the pool, on Volskaya and Route 66.
That's
Nobody
pretty
has
good.
been able to come up against Seoul Dynasty. And really, it speaks to the expectations for this team that if they win this match, they are in 2nd place, and we would still be kind of disappointed with their performance overall.
I mean, they haven't reached the stage playoff once. They've always fell short. So in my opinion, when it comes down to it, when you need to be clutch, Seoul Dynasty haven't, and they need to step up.
That's true, but you only really, when you look at them in their division, they only need to edge out the LA Valiant to be able to get that bye in the overall playoffs. I think they're playing the long game here. Seoul aren't worried yet. But
Bye, don't win your championship, Sideshow.
Keep your eyes on Gambler. Keep your eyes on Zephyr if you're a fan today. I know we haven't seen them at the top of their game quite yet. Is today the day they are unleashed? Crowd, please put your Sour Patch Thundersticks together. Make some noise. The match is ready. The players are set. And here are your casters. It's Uber with Mr. X.
What's going on? I want a Sour Patch Thunderstick TM.
Make some noise.
Welcome back to the Blizzard Arena, ladies and gentlemen. Last game of day 1 of week 2. There we go. Let's get it right.
Last day.
Last day. It's your last day, Brett.
Oh, wow. That's unfortunate for me.
This is going to be an interesting series, though. These two, I think they set it on the desk pretty well. We actually can probably just rehash a little bit the way they put it. We're going to jump straight in, so be ready for this. But these are always good matches, Matt. These are always good head-to-heads between Seoul and between the Fuel.
Yeah, they've always played each other very close, whether, Apex, Overwatch League, whatnot. And you have to wonder, I think it was like Brandon or Johnny, we were just discussing this a while ago about the first game of the season, right? Is Dallas against Seoul, and that is such a close game, goes down to the wire. I feel like that loss kind of sent Dallas spiraling down this hole. If that match goes their way, right? You get a ton of confidence, you move on from there.
That was so long ago now. At least it feels that way.
It does, but that kind of sets off all the sequences of events at the start of the league, and then you can end up
Ends up being like a Lemony Snicket novel, right?
I don't know what that even means.
Bueller? Anyone? Right?
No.
Series of unfortunate events, Matt. Read a book sometime, bro.
Nah, that's a waste of time when you play games. Seoul will be on defense, but I think that loss potentially could have hurt the Fuel throughout the rest of their season thus far. Gambler in instead of Toad here.
So
Gambler,
definitely the better Mercy.
Yes, very good Mercy player, so you have him to pocket Fleta. And then Zephyr will be playing the off tank. Seoul Dynasty tweeted out, Zunba not playing, has a bit of an injury, so you'll see Zephyr in the lineup today. OGE for the Dallas Fuel. I know
Big debut.
Dallas Fuel fans have been waiting for this for a while.
Some of the players.
Expect to be a shot caller, just an overall good locker room guy, right? Like somebody who's just going to change the morale of this team.
Dude, dropping Gatorade on people. Well, for now, it's just going to be a barrier that gets put down. Zephyr there up with Miro. Zephyr getting chunked down very low. He kind of had to back out. So OG's kind of moved in, taken up residence and realized, okay, the rest of the team isn't with me now. I'm going to drop back to them briefly. And perhaps we'll see a little bit of this back and forth for the time being, because Effect is on the other side of this building, trying to get some flank damage done.
Yeah, Effect's trying to put some damage down, and they're also trying to open up space for AKM on Widowmaker to get some picks on the players playing down here by that Mega Health Pack. He's looking across. They've already earned a Valkyrie. Harry Hook's going to pop it right away.
Yeah, they've got to get aggressive behind this though, Matt. They need some picks to open things up. We saw the same issues faced by the Fusion in the Stage 2 finals. If you don't get those early picks, it's very hard to take control at this point. And look, AKM is down. Pulse Bomb dropped in. That's going to really hurt Miro down. And Zephyr very low. Effectus has to add a little bit of damage, and the mech will eject its pilot. But a cheeky resurrect from Gambler comes in. Miro's back on his feet. For now, Soul will weather the storm.
Yeah, it took a little bit too long for the Dallas Fuel to make any progress or just taking anybody out, right? I would have loved to see them try and get AKM up on the high ground on that far side. As see, Effect has got way behind enemy lines as Flutta take him out. Munchkin there with the assist, putting down some damage. But the Widowmaker battle against Flutta is going to be a difficult one for AKM. Obviously, he's a very good Widowmaker as well. It's just, on the defensive end, you can only play in like a few spots right up here or over on that platform that he's looking at right on the side.
The win condition is getting rid of Fleta or getting rid of Jaehong in this fight.
Yes, I think it's actually with how good Fleta is on the Widowmaker, it's more to get rid of Fleta, because if you get rid of Fleta, you trust that Effect is going to be able to win a 1v1 against Jaehong.
Just deny the Transcendence, crucially. Remove that from the fight now. It's going to be forced out of Unko already, so Jaehong's feeling pretty good about himself right now, and that's AKM. He's found his important frag, his first one of this round. There needs to be more where that came from for the Dallas Fuel. They must press the advantage, but they've got point control. It's up to Soul now to stand and deliver.
Yeah, and OGE in effect actually force out the Transcendence from Jaehong. OGE uses Primal Rage, Effect, and a Pulse Bomb, and they just able to push some members back from Seoul Dynasty. It'll be Zephyr using a self-destruct on the point. Actually knocks Mickey out of his mech, but Dallas getting very close to taking point A.
OGM is ham. He's in the backline. You can see him on the wireframe. He went so deep to remove Gambler. That's exactly what he did. The Dallas Fuel take point A. 5 minutes 17 on the clock.
In fact, it's hunting down Munchkin, not able to finish that kill off. But if he would have finished that off, maybe they keep this rolling. So AKM will switch over to Soldier 76. So that consistent damage from AKM you want here on point B. Flood will go Genji, so no Sombra here for Seoul Dynasty on point B. Jaehong opens things up. It's a big pick on AKM. They're going to push off of this.
AKM brought back to life by Harry Hook, and now Dallas need to still deal with the rest of the aggression from Soul. The dive came in after the 76 had fallen, and he wasn't back on his feet in time to help his team return the damage. So it will be a full-scale retreat from the Dallas Fuel. If they linger too long, it will feed more ultimate percentage to their opponents.
They'll back out for now. So they'll let Mickey get back in the action. They didn't have another res to use onto Unko. Obviously, they used it onto AKM. Then Seoul Dynasty just collapsed right on top of his body. But I know OG's done some nice stuff thus far. I know 4 eliminations, 3 final blows. Just seeing him being active, right? That's what you want to see. You want to see him involved in a lot of engagements along with Mickey. I know blocking a decent amount of damage also.
I'm less interested in how he dives and more what the follow-up is, if there's a D.Va with him, if the defense matrix is used well, who's diving with him. It's good to see that aggression. Oh, it's a good sign. I hear a Dragon Blade. Flutter's the one pulling it out. Unco down. AKM's in deep trouble. One more slash, we get it done. And he fell to Munchkin in the end. Soul, all they're looking to do is identify moments of weakness here for the Dallas Fuel and exploit them often with grisly results.
Yeah, now you have no support ultimates for the Dallas Fuel. Both of them used.
That's super nasty.
Yeah, Mickey will reset here. It doesn't even matter that Unco picked off Flutta, right? I mean, you don't have your D.Va.
Soul traded Primal Rage, a Valkyrie, and a Dragon Blade in for both of Dallas Fuel support ultimates. I'll call that a win.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, now Dallas will be able to attack with with this Pulse Bomb. You need to get a Pulse Bomb. You need to get a DMEC on Zephyr if you're going to make any use.
Wow!
Oh, wow, that's a sick Pulse Bomb. You usually don't see that Tracer.
No,
Tracer.
That's the disrespect play. It's right when you know the enemy Tracers use their recall. It's the ultimate insult.
Back with
to get
another one
Pulse
as well.
Bomb. Yep, that's 2 already down to 6v4. Now they're pressure the point. AKM has a tactical visor, and Soul know they've had to retreat for the time being. What's Miro trying to do here? Trying to get back to the safe haven of the Transcendence, I dare say. Gambler scoots across the point. They're trying to keep Zephyr nice and topped up, and AKM now starting to feel it. It's a tactical visor, and Miro can't do too much about it. We can see now the Fuel are not fully committing until OGE is ready to do so. He dives in, forced J-Hong out. Flutter also is forced out of position at half HP for the time being. And now we'll see Gambler come in with a Valkyrie. AKM got the D-suit on Zephyr, but Flutter now starting to wake up. Harry Hook and AKM both fall to the Genji in effect. Begrudgingly has to get out. We'd like to anyway.
It's going to be very difficult for him to do so, but Fleta takes out Unko, then takes out Harry Hook as he's trying to res him. You get both supports out. But Seoul Dynasty, they did end up using their Valkyrie towards the end of that. So Dallas Fuel will have Valkyrie, and they'll get a Transcendence during this next fight. But man, that was a tough one for them to lose. Effect's able to take out Munchkin and Fleta right at the beginning of the fight, and they're not able to take the point.
What does he drop in with this Pulse Bomb? Munchkin, after getting Pulse Bombed by Effect in the previous fight. Effect, by the way, has another Pulse Bomb already, so that's 1 per fight for him. Munchkin didn't have the blinks to double dash across in that moment. He had to wait, and in doing so, he gets himself into the back line. No, straight into the Korean Future Dyson goes the Pulse Bomb. No fun allowed for Munchkin.
And Effect dies behind enemy lines, so we'll have to wait for him to come back into the next fight. J-Hong learned himself Transcendence, so you have Transcendence plus Dragon Blade. They can opt to try and get aggressive with that, a lot like how they did with the Valkyrie in the Dragon Blade, maybe force these ultimates out way far away from the point.
Dallas cannot have the force. Oh, Flutter Pulse Bomb Effect really making those count in this map so far. Now AK can step forward, knows he won't be dived in the backline, but Flutter's brought back to life, and it might be his vengeance to follow because he has a Dragon Blade. Uncode down to Zephyr, trying to deal with Gambler there. The Valkyrie doesn't get shut down because Flutter's back and he means business. There's a Dragon Blade in the mix for him here. He doesn't note with interest the Valkyrie is still in effect for the Dallas Fuel, so perhaps he can just hold on to this one. Charge in towards Unco. Now to start to fight back in here. Effect's on the point though. We just found Gambler, and now it's a 1v1 between Effect and Miro.
And you still have OGE left as well. OGE is just trying to protect Harry Hook. Effect is still darting around on the point. Just doesn't have anybody else there with him. He's going to have to back out. 40 seconds left on the clock. OGE was trying to just keep Fleta away from Harry Hook to have Effect have those one-on-ones on the point. He's able to win them, just not enough HP. Keep that point going. Also, members of the Seoul Dynasty coming off respawn.
Effect has about 60% of his team's final blows right now. He's doing a heck of a lot and securing those kills, no less. What's Munchkin looking for? Time's ticking down, 15 seconds left. You see that Dallas have only managed 76.6% capture progress. Now, given that their defenses haven't been great on this map in the past, they should be worried about that.
And Dallas is just letting that Valkyrie run out. As soon as it does, OG will jump down, touch the point, and we'll swap places with Mickey. They're just trying to get this one into overtime.
OGE walks forward, jumps up there as well. J-Hong has to go for the Transcendence, but they've already lost Fleta here. It's going to have to be a resurrect attempt from Gambler, and it is. Brings back the Genji. AKM immediately falls to Fleta, who pulls for the Dragon Blade. He didn't use it in the prior fight because he didn't need it, and Unco was taken down. Despite himself getting some healing from Harry, it wasn't enough to keep him up, but this might be the turnaround here. OGE, Primal Rage. J-Hong just splattered against the wall, and Fleta falls a similar fate. Miro has to take to the sky, and the self-destruct does a good amount of damage to Mickey, but not enough to remove him from the mech. Pulse Bomb, and Zephyr actually pushes OGE out of the way of it. Munchkin tried to leave him a little package there, but he's just shoved off it. Now Miro down to half. You can see Gamble switch over towards Lamora, so a lot of good close proximity healing available to Soul right now, but they're being shoved off the point. Zephyr's low, OGE still alive, still so healthy, and AKM, the tactical visor, just around the corner. You gotta think he's gonna want to go for it in a second. He backs away from J-Hong. J-Hong wants to get aggressive, but AKM now has the tactical visor. Look at this perfect tracking from AKM. J-Hong taken down. AKM with 3 to finish the round. And yes, Dallas Fuel did finish the map.
In effect, OG and Harry Hook stay alive long enough for the remaining 3 members to come off, respawn. As much as Dallas Fuel has struggled, and you've seen obviously a lot of the guys on social media when I talk about what they believe is the main struggle with this team,
which is different from every one of them, depending who you ask.
Every one of them. But the one thing that I kind of took from it is that when Effect was like, I don't feel like I'm being enabled to do what I like to do anymore, and he didn't feel confident being able to like how he used to play on Envious, like during NA contenders and whatnot. He used to have a lot of confidence in his teammates that they were going to be there for him when he was able to go in. We know if they get back to that type of play style, right, they can get him back on track. He is such an insane player. I mean, he finishes the first half 16 elims, 12 final blows, like, and nobody's even close to him on both teams in regards to that. I mean, he's just an absolute monster when they get him going. Which, look, if you're Dallas Fuel, if you can get Effect going and turn around your season, look, they win this game. They could easily find themselves back in like a stage playoff chase.
Yeah, it's funny. He tweeted out that the results of the analyst desk predictions during this Shanghai match.
Oh, he was in here. We saw him.
Motivated him to go out there and, in his own words, kill everybody in game, of course. Clear about that. So he was, I don't know, he was furious. He was not happy about that at the time. We were just laughing around like, you guys gonna get wrecked.
Which, like, you're a competitor, and you see everybody that picking a team who doesn't want a game against you. I mean, that's gonna set you. If you can't play good under those you can get motivated to play against those circumstances. I don't know what would motivate you to get out there and play a good game.
I mean, especially if you're considered the underdog or if you're indignant about that fact. I can see how that would stoke a fire in you, and now the Dallas Fuel have something to prove. They come back in with OGE now. It's a new look, Effect. Perhaps even OGE's presence enough enables him to be able to do more. Again, perhaps even Korean communication between Effect and OGE. Maybe that's a possibility. A Rascal waiting in the wings who's also available to play today. There are many looks available to the Dallas Fuel, but right now what we need to see from them is rock solid.
I think what OGE brings as well is a lot of teams have a main tank shot caller and then somebody on the back line who really kind of keep tabs on ultimates and whatnot. That was Custa. I think now that is Unko, but I think Custa was probably doing like the calling for everything at that point, right? Now it allows Unko to really kind of keep track of ultimates, or maybe it's Harry Hook, but it gives like a clear voice of what they're going to do dedicated with the main tank role.
So Seoul will try to play this one in a similar way to Dallas. They're going to have sort of Flutter standing behind Zephyr on that Widowmaker trying to get picks, but AKM actually got the pick. He found Flutter, who gets resurrected. Gambler's been very diligent, continuing to resurrect people the moment they die, and that might be an opening here for Seoul. Removing Mickey from the equation, and now with Jaehong coming forward, that Transcendence to back Munchkin and co-up, it's going to allow them to facilitate that aggression. They can really push with that healing, with peace of mind. And yeah, Effect is going to be shoved on the point. This is what I mean about Dallas Fuel's point A defenses, by the way. They're a little bit flimsy.
I mean, Miro and Munchkin push Unko so far back, up to the high ground, that he spent so much time getting there. Zenyatta is obviously not a very fast hero. Like, he's not even able to build close to his Transcendence. And, he ends that first fight. Well, I mean, the first fight really ends a little bit earlier than it did, but he ends it with like 66%, and Jaehong's already using his Transcendence at that time. So it shows you how far off he was.
You can see Flutter's behavior, by the way, means he kind of didn't expect Dallas to get so aggressive on defense. You see it repelled forward and then was surrounded by roiling massive bodies and didn't know who to fire at. Okay, there's the Transcendence forced out of Dallas, and it's probably not a bad thing. Not a terrible time to have that. The thing is that they've also used Valkyrie in this fight, and they've used both those ultimates essentially simultaneously. So they burnt through them. Flutter now looking for a little bit of a... Oh! Eds will roll! And Flutter, no one does it better than him. Beautiful stuff. Gambler does get paused, but that's so gross.
Yeah, I mean, that's the saving grace there for the Dallas Fuel. Jaehong will use Transcendence here as they're going to invest a little bit into this fight. AKM already, though, with this EMP. See if he can come up with a big one. There it is.
Big turnaround there. Flattery is affected by the hack, but he can still do damage to his Widowmaker, but he's still fouled too. He doesn't end electronics. He just lights a candle for every person's head he sends rolling. Now he steps up to the point. OGE's fallen. Zephyr made sure of that. Gambler now is just going to come back and make sure everyone's nice and toasty, topped up and healed. And the Seoul Dynasty now still have to deal with Mickey in Effect. And AKM's wrapping around the side. You can see him to the left of Jaehong. He will try and threaten the Zenyatta if he can. Get some hacks off on the tanks and try and put this fight back in favor of Dallas. There are numbers on the point, and there's a Valkyrie here for Harry Hook. But Unko's dead before he could get his trans. Won't matter, though. Won't matter. 5 minutes, 6 seconds on the clock for Seoul, and they are way ahead.
That was quick. Seoul Dynasty just runs through Dallas Fuel there. Flutter hitting some insane shots. It's Widowmaker, the start of that match. And I mean, look, 5 minutes to attack point A. That is an eternity. They're going to have a ton of time here to get this. It's going to be very difficult for the Dallas Fuel to hold this on point A.
And you know what? You can boil this down to some degree Communication. I think if you want to play an aggressive defense, communication needs to be pretty sick. The slightest overextension can result in a cascading domino effect of players going a little bit too far, getting caught out, and getting snowballed out, just like us on Numbani last night.
Yeah. Well, I think it also helps when Seoul Dynasty is aggressive on defense. They have that Dragon Blade. When you come in with Dragon Blade, the other team is going to use some support ult, whether it's Transcendence or a Valkyrie. And Seoul is able to kind of trade one of their support ults and a Dragon Blade for both support ults on the other team, or maybe a Primal Rage and a support ult. And you're going to come out on top on the defensive end every time with that, right? Because the stall just can keep on going and keep on going. You didn't have that for the Dallas Fuel because you're running Sombra. Obviously, Sombra could EMP. Your EMP, you don't give them the opportunity to use a support ult, or Effect has to hit the pulse bomb to make one of those worth it.
One thing we will say about Gambler is his ability to go in and get Resurrection, the most dangerous of situations, and still come out alive is quite impressive. Naturally, Mercy can't do a whole lot. I was just channeling that ability. And as per usual, Fleta will go hunting. Now, he splits off from the rest of his team for a moment and tries to sit a little further back of them. Now, ideally, he's looking for Zenyatta or an enemy Widowmaker. He's looking for AKM, or whoever peeks too far. Again, the more damage he puts on Mickey, the less likely Dallas are going to be able to dive him all the way behind his front line.
You see Munchkin going towards the high ground. Effect spots him, so Effect just going to put some shots in just to push him away.
Unco couldn't see that health
very
bar.
careful, by the way.
See, we saw Unco's health bar there. We knew he was there. Fleta couldn't see it at the time because he hadn't taken damage. So you saw he only flicked over to the player when you saw the Zenyatta's head poke off the edge. Right, Munchkin into the back line. So he joined the first dive, then he sort of tries to play on the periphery because he's hunting for this guy. Oh, almost the one clip. He gets it with a second bit. A recall now, realizing that Unco could have him. Already finding AKM is good. That really opens things up for Fleta as well. Fleta's now playing on his own because he realizes the enemy Widow's down, so there's really not much to contest him. Unco has been removed, and it's just methodical, surgical precision applied to this point for the Seoul Dynasty. Like cardiothoracic surgeons they are. And it'll be OGE down. And it will be the catcher on the point here. There will be no more contesting from the Dallas Fuel. And map one goes to the Tigers.
They were dominant on the offensive side, and they're able to hold Dallas Fuel to taking both points, but with no time left in their time bank, as Seoul will take map number one in this. I mentioned how good Effect was in their first half on the offensive side. Munchkin, ends up turning up towards the end there, Mitch. 31 limbs, 18 final blows as Tracer. 21% of overall team damage, 23% of team damage coming from Fleta as well. Both DPS players for Seoul Dynasty starting to get rolling. I
feel like the best opportunities for the Dallas Fuel to take this series under control will be over the next couple of maps, especially when we head over toward Control. Something worth keeping your eye on for the time being now is Dallas Fuel really need to pick up some maps here. Had a decent week. I mean, both of these teams, in all fairness, for this stage are 1-1. Seoul obviously dropping that match, last week there, but mentioned to take it over San Francisco was good. We're seeing a lot of good stuff in this game. Effect is trying to do it on his own as per usual. Needs some backup. Let's see if the Fuel have it for him after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
Dallas Fuel and Seoul Dynasty.
These are players with storied histories and a lot of success in the past.
That is it. Envious will win Intel Overwatch Apex Season 1 with a 4-0 victory. GG.
A rivalry that's raged on across the globe.
When they were Lunatic High and Envious, these guys had some great matches.
And it's going to be a full hold for
Lunatic High, our reigning champions, do it again.
Seoul Dynasty might just be the best Overwatch team.
This is exactly the high-level Overwatch match we were hoping it would be. Seoul Dynasty has taken this series. Bam, that was close.
Stage 2, then a match between Dallas Fuel and Seoul Dynasty. There's a stick on XQC, gets him!
And Seoul Dynasty will barely pull it out.
Lots to look forward to for these guys. Historically, I think this is always a fun match to watch.
We saw some great stuff out of both of these rosters, and coming in, we've seen some major improvements from both of these teams.
I love that, man. I love looking back to the old days, the OG days, you know, especially where, you know, Apex and a lot of these guys obviously competing on that stage. The rivalry that existed, of course, and, you know, Team Envious were previously champions of that tournament. You know, the one of the very few teams in history to go over to Korea and win it all.
I mean, Dallas Fuel coming into Overwatch League was expected to be that rock-solid number 14, right? You thought Seoul Dynasty, NYXL, London would be at the top, and then you thought Dallas would be right there behind them.
I mean, our predictions, yeah, we thought Seoul would be the best. I mean, that didn't happen. We definitely thought Dallas would be top 3. That definitely did not happen. And we're still reeling from it, Matt. We're still reeling. We live in the, you know, the fallen age. The throne is cracked and crumbling.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people's predictions coming into the league thrown completely sideways, right? Everyone's like, oh, Boston's going to be at the bottom. They're now like in that top 4 conversation. They're right up there. You know, their map differential's great. It's been much different once we get into the actual games.
I remember, I throw back to, I think it was like a preseason game. It was like Boston versus Shanghai. And Hex looks at me, we're doing predictions on the desk. I was on the desk at that point. Bad idea, of course. He's like, yeah, I think Shanghai definitely going to win this. And I looked at him, I said, mate, you cast in China. Like, you know where this scene's at. You kind of know, like, what their mindset is, their approach to the game. Like, why would you expect this to be the case? But, you know, like, a lot of people like him believe that would be the case. Our expectations have been managed. They've been changed for better or for worse all through the course of the Overwatch League so far. And now, Matt, we find ourselves in a position where either of these teams could take this match, but not for the reason that they're both great, but for the reason that they're both not doing well at the moment.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot we're in. I think some people, players, teams have really like thrived in this environment, right? You know, being here, practicing every day, being around their teammates so much. And then some teams it just hasn't worked out.
Right. It's everything to do with your temperament. You know, I mean, look at the Mayhem, for example. A team that's had to grind it out with, you know, some of the best of them in the bottom 6 of this league. And it's been tough. And they've always kept their head up high. And, you know, I believe they're improving. But for Dallas, it's tough. And you have changes. And, bro, I mean, this whole thing is crazy, though. Like, the ecosystem around it is also
expectations for Dallas were much different than for Florida, I think.
What are they now? What do you think? Yeah, that's fair. Well, what are they now?
For Dallas?
Yeah.
I think for your final 2 stages, I think to make a stage playoff is a realistic goal for the Dallas Fuel.
Okay.
I think they can realistically make that happen. End of season playoffs, you would have to go on a pretty crazy run. You'd have to probably put together like 2 stages of 8-2 or 7-3 to get close.
Right.
And that would get you close. I don't know if it would get you in, but on defense, Seoul Dynasty, they'll be running Gambler on Mercy. That's why you see him in the lineup. Jayhawk will be playing Ana here, so you get to see his fantastic Ana play. And interesting, against how good of a Widow. Okay, yeah.
Someone spotted Flutter.
All right, well, you'll see AKM switch.
Okay, okay. All right, Dylan. He tells me he's been practicing. He's told us. We've seen this from him before. It wasn't like next level, but let's see if he can make the difference.
You want him in the lineup because 76 in his Widow is so great. You also want to be able to run dive.
Yeah.
This is something he's going to have to do eventually, so you may as well figure it out.
Figure it out one way or another. AKM, good start. They forced the Seoul Dynasty off the high ground. That's exactly what you need to do at this point. Now, they don't chase for any kills, so despite forcing Seoul back, they haven't dived the supports yet at all. So Zephyr walks onto the point. You see Miro also starts to take control of some positioning, and Unco dies to Munchkin on the other ledge here. So, okay, there needs to be some aggression. We've got to go in. AKM, oh no! He doesn't quite nail it, and Flutter hits him on the way down. Again, it's all well and good to have the hero composition, Matt, but you've really got to start getting those kills and putting pressure on backlines.
He'll get one with his self-destruct. This is still doable for the Dallas Fuel. You see Jaehong, though, just getting pocketed by Gambler there. Able to keep him alive. Now, Gambler and Harry Hook in our last map both finishes like over 18k healing. So you can see this. Fleta's POV sees the sleeping Cage. Oh my god, that is
Great
so
sleep from
filthy.
Jaehong. We expect no less by now, of course.
But, you know, AKM does do a decent job building up towards Dragon Blade, right? I mean, he's already got it. It's pretty much one fight towards it. Now we see if he gets any value out of it.
Munchkin has a pulse, but whoa, a lot of damage had already been done to Unko there. It was very low. So Munchkin barely had to breathe on him to remove him from the fight. So Zenyatta down. Unko is still missing the opportunity to charge up. Here's the problem, right? All of Dallas are playing up on that high ground. All of those heroes have the ability to get up there or traverse that kind of gap, with the exception of maybe Effect for the most part. He can actually come across on the ledge, but Unko will be stuck on the ledge that we're looking at via Munchkin's perspective here. He can't really cross over. So until Dallas can take positioning on the point itself, after they force Seoul Dynasty off the high ground, Unko is very vulnerable on his own.
I think in this next fight, Mitch, what you need to see happen is maybe OGE use his Primal Rage, get in, be a disruptor, force out whether it's, you're going to force out Valkyrie, right? As you know, Jaehong's Nano Boost, well, now it's going to be used here on Amiro as he just jumps right down. They've just been isolating Unko as you see Harry just gets obliterated there as well. So I think, look, you lose both those players. This fight is definitely over. AKM will probably drop here as well. You need to get the Valkyrie out of Gambler. Once you do that, let's say you use Valkyrie and maybe Primal Rage to do that, then you have Transcendence and Blade to use.
This is Soul's bread and butter though, this kind of setup here. Watch how this one goes down. So OG gets put to sleep by Jaehong again. Death Taxes, Sleep Darts from Jaehong.
Self-destruct right underneath his bubble.
Yeah, I mean it's twofold, right? It zones away, plus it's also going to secure a kill. Soul are very good at using Jaehong to throw in a Binding Grenade and follow it up, you know, with Miro jumping in. Something we've seen him do many times. Pulse Bomb Stick. Force a Primal Rage here on OGE, who now has to sort of play away from the rest of his team and try and disrupt the backline in some way.
There's the Blade though, so you did get Valkyrie out. Now let's see if AKM can get anything with his Dragon Blade. The swiping over at Fleta, forces him back, doesn't secure a kill.
No, not quite. AKM though, again, getting that space though is half the battle at this stage. With Munchkin and Miro being down, Miro gets rezzed up, but they've got that first point there. So Dallas Fuel, persistence pays apparently. And they'll be on the move for 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Now, they'd love to snowball this. They'd love to push Soul back. But Soul are playing together as a 5-man unit right now. They got a lot of healing. Mickey can't break them on his own.
It wasn't pretty. They were able to do it. A big reason why is obviously you want to run Ana for the Biotic Grenade, use the Sleep Darts, the Nano Boost. Now, the great thing she has in her kit, the issue is her support ultimate's not one that gives a full team sustain. Oh, that is so filthy.
Jaehong, come on! Sleep Dart in. Effect's just not even allowed to play Overwatch. A perfect bait. Gambler sets up and knows, I'm sure, that Effect's going to beeline for him, and now Fleta just cleaning up.
It's so nasty.
Soul Dynasty, you know, they're starting to throw some glitter around, Matt. That's the flash, the flare, the finesse we're looking for.
It's a Tracer you're hitting with that, too. It's not like you're hitting like a... You know, a Diva or a...
So they're doing a Fandango on a sleeping Tracer while he's rezzing.
Yeah, it's going to be 5 sleeps in this game thus far from Jaehong.
Okay. In what has been maybe like 5.5 minutes of game time, if my calculations are correct. So
around there.
About 1 sleep dart a minute, that's nice. We've seen him be on very key targets for very impactful results. Unco down, Munchkin's found him again. It looks like the Zenyatta for the Dallas Fuels had to play solo for much of this round so far. And OGE can only use Primal Rage to escape. That's when you know you're not getting your value out of that Winston ultimate.
I like the change from AKM, though, over to Sombra. This is a hero he plays at a high level. I know his Genji still working on it. No, his Genji, I mean, even he would tell you his Genji, he's still working on it, right? I mean, it's not something, it's something they need just because you want him in the lineup in some games over Rascal, and he's going to have to play it. So.
Oh dear.
It's a filthy shot.
Trying to, you know, Mickey trying to get some damage done from the bridge of the Starship Enterprise, and that is the Borg.
But I think AKM, though, with the Sombra, can put some more pressure on Fleta, maybe get some pressure onto the supports in the back line, because they really haven't been able to do it this far. It's really been Soul Dynasty's dive, especially on Unco, just finding where Unco is and taking him out right away. It's been so devastating.
Unco doesn't have to play on his own now in this part of the map, and he won't. He'll just sit back behind the rest of the Dallas Fuel. But he's still going to be a target nonetheless. Munchkin will be looking for him. Like, look at this. Look at this. He's got no friends. He's got no help. Somebody give him a heal. I think Harry Hook realizes that and ducks back, but that Transcendence was forced out of Unco. That's the only way he could stay alive, and now at 15 seconds left in the round, it's starting to get a bit dicey, to quote my friend Semler. Mirror's going to jump in here, has himself the nano boost, and Unco now trying to get back. Mickey body blocking the doorway like the bouncer that he's known to be, but OGE has fallen to the hands of Fleta. The Widowmaker still doing damage over the point. Gambler off to the side, and Mickey, all he can do is bunny hop in the direction of the payload. Dallas Fuel put under lock and key on that second part of the map.
Yeah, that is set up, though, by the pressure that Munchkin puts down, forces both supports to go back there and deal with him. Not able to provide any healing to OGE. You wanted to raise AKM because he's getting close to that EMP, and then it falls apart for Dallas.
Frustrating for Dallas, nonetheless. And yeah, I think compositions and where they're using their Genji definitely doesn't look like that's their natural look. Hey, we're back on camera because I want to do something very quickly. Yeah. OGE's come in now. This is his debut. And I want to see what Johnny on the spot has to say about this. You know, our resident, ex-pro tank player.
Yeah.
Be very interested to see what you big fella had to say about that.
I don't know what you think, Mitch, but I figured it wasn't worth watching AKM's Genji. So, I'll stick to the,
come
main
on,
tank
man,
instead.
come on.
No, but...
Let AKM move a little bit.
It was pretty good. It was pretty, so overall, I think that OG has been very aggressive so far. And I don't think he's really found his stride with Mickey yet. We can see that OG, he tries to shut down the Mercy Resurrections a lot of the times and jumps in really aggressive. Mickey hasn't been there with the defense matrix. So a bit too aggressive, and Mickey needs to sync up with him.
I mean, definitely like a symptom, of a new player, a new pickup coming into these teams. So thanks for that one, Johnny. We'll keep an eye on that now. I think well, it'll probably be good just to try and take a closer look at how the Fuel are synergizing between those two tanks. And look, we've said that before. When you're Mickey and you're playing now with a different tank, on this team, you played with Coco, you played with Taimu, and you played with OG.
You played main tank yourself.
Exactly, you had to play main. So again, trying to get a feel for the flow of your main tank must be a little bit tricky. And then let's not even talk about the communication that must occur there as well. Given that Mickey is bilingual but speaks English in this sort of team.
And I think it will take time. To Johnny's point, you need to get on the same page with your Winston in just terms of situational play. This type of situation, do you want to continue to go in? Do you want to peel back? And right now, you're not seeing it done.
There you go. Fleta only falling so far to effect. I mean, given the narrative we tend to spin up about the Dallas Fuel, I think that's consistent for once. Right, let's see it. Fleta now. Let's see how Fleta does it. So he dives in, but instead of just pushing Dallas off the high ground, he tries to follow up in some of these kills. Gets close, but the loss of Gambler might give them pause for thought here. Fleta now just needs to back away. Good hold from Dallas. They've always looked a little bit better on this map in defense.
Yeah, they lose Zephyr as well, so you lose the D.Va to go in there, try and make a play. Jaehong playing a Lucio. Don't see that too often. Usually he's over on Ana or Zen. It's usually
Gambler played a lot of Lucio back in the day, but...
You want the Mercy, though. Yeah. Gambler is, I think Gambler is picked up to this team for his Mercy play.
Jaehong's a no mercy kind of guy now. Saw him last round. Fleta now, Dragon Blade. Speed of no mercy. It's going to be nasty. AKM taken down, and Harry Hook deleted from the game. We'll see what the response is from Dallas. They've still got some players up who can do damage. Jaehong just trying to boop OGE away. And we're talking about playing alone. There's not much he could have done about that one. He was set upon by the entirety of the Seoul Dynasty, and they'll have 4 players to sit on the point and capture this one very quickly. It will be Effect will be able to run on very briefly if he has the blink charges. I think he does.
No, they'll be able to challenge this.
I like that.
Mickey's got a self-destruct here to use as well. It's going to be a tactical visor for AKM.
Mickey got pulse bombs. It's going to be tough to keep him up, man. AKM's taken down by the self-destructive Zephyr. Now there's going to be one from the Dallas Fuel. Won't catch Seoul Dynasty out for that one. They're a little bit too canny. They return to the point after the D.Va remix, and now it's time to do it all again. Miro taking a lot of damage in the Transcendence. This is in effect for the Dallas Fuel, but he outlasts it. Goes for the Primal Rage. Harry Hook gets smashed, and now he's looking for Unco as well. There's nothing the man can do. Please, I'll give him my orbs. Take anything. No. Miro only wants his life. Sitting on top of the biotic field of AKM, so again, he's going to be out-healed in that case. AKM wins out the duel and finds Zephyr after de-suiting him. Fleta returns to the fight now. It's going to be a 2v2 over the point. Effect and OGE versus Gambler and Fleta. but Fleta has the healing and the Dragon Blade now. OGE's got to get out. Effect can stall here easier, 1v2, and there's time for Mickey and OGE to return.
Yeah, they'll get back onto the point. Effect is able to keep this one alive. He's able to kill 3, but Fleta with this blade trying to put it away in Seoul Dynasty's favor. Comes on in, AKM shuts him down.
He eats a Helix Rocket like it's going out of fashion, but Munchkin and Jaehong are back on the point. Self-destruct there, no, an attempt. It was Zephyr getting knocked out of his mech, should I say, and he's taken down quickly. AKM, another Bardic Fuel to keep him alive, but there's a lot of damage this time. He had healing from Mercy, Zenyatta, and himself, and he still couldn't outlast. Harry Hook trying to get away. He had an Orb of Harmony, but it's not going to be enough. Now it's Effect on the point, it's just him. Recalls onto the payload to dash out. Mickey couldn't step foot on there, and Seoul will eventually take point A.
Yeah, Effect was relying on Mickey to get a touch there on the point, but as good of a stall as he possibly could have got there for the Dallas Fuel, but see Seoul Dynasty pushing on forward. AKM getting really weak. He's handled by Munchkin.
I gotta say, AKM has hit 2 disgusting Helix Rockets on Fleta to claim him in the last couple of fights. Issue with that being that the margin of error for Dallas Fuel is very, very, very slim.
Well, I mean, Dallas Fuel, they'll have both support ultimates and a tactical visor. You know, you could open things up with Effect, putting down some damage on a Zephyr, landing a Pulse Bomb, get him demeched. Fleta will end up with a Dragon Blade in this next fight. Just how they defense that. This is a big pick. They got to go on this.
Yep, he almost had Valkyrie, and now this is when they really want to take advantage. Munchkin might be able to pull the linchpin out from this one, though. He's flanked all the way around, so he's expecting Seoul to retreat, but because Dallas are pushed so far forward, it actually allows him to embed himself even deeper behind Dallas Fuel without being noticed. There's no one that's going to spawn back in from Dallas either, so Munchkin will be undetected until at least the Dallas Fuel player dies and respawns or goes back and somehow finds...
Well, what he's waiting is for AKM and Unko to get set up on the high ground. Because usually you would put the 76 up on the high ground.
Yeah, these two played together since 2 years ago.
So what's going to happen eventually, I would think, is that Miro is going to dive up onto that high ground. You know, some kills going in favor here. Pulse Bomb goes over the side, so maybe Miro would have jumped up on the high ground and you would have been able to get both those players, but don't connect with the Pulse Bomb on anything.
The assassination doesn't pay off. Munchkin actually did find Unko, but he got resurrected by Harry Hook regardless, so now Dallas Fuel hunkering down, battening the hatches. And they have 1 minute and 50 seconds to keep Seoul at bay. Now, once again, we'll see AKM and Unko take to the sky. So Unko in this next fight will Transcendence and drop down if his team are threatened, but he will try and play together with AKM as much as possible. That's a recall there from Effect. He gets out scot-free.
OG has his Primal Rage, so look to see him jump right on top of Jaehong, try and pressure him out. You know that they have Transcendence by this point in the game.
OGE was in a 1v1 versus Zephyr. That's a Primal Rage there, but that was actually from Miro. The OGE pop his if required, but he's sitting in a Transcendence right now. Both teams have popped those Zenyatta ultimates. Oh, Harry Hook can get away. Fleta chases down with a Switch Strike. He's got himself free. Are you kidding me? He's looking for more, but I think he's had enough. Over engorged. Gluttony is a sin, but Fleta doesn't really seem to care. That was a very quick passage of play, and when Dallas Fuel had that support on, it didn't matter. Oh, God.
I mean, it's set up by Miro using Primal Rage, jump right on top of Unko, force out that Transcendence, use your own Transcendence, keep everybody alive, make sure Flood is alive to use the Dragon Blade. This Effect will get on the payload. This one's not over yet.
Another whip Pulse Bomb from Munchkin means he fails to pick up AKM. Second time in a row. Now the Dallas Fuel getting aggressive. The payload's getting awfully close and they need to keep this stalled out. Effect deals with Miro. Now the engage is cut very, very slim for the Seoul Dynasty. And there's a bunch of squishy targets that could definitely use Big Brother Winston around to shield them. Munchkin will have to opt for the health pack in the meantime. Mickey's taking a lot of damage, but Harry Hook now has a Valkyrie and AKM the tactical visor. Fleta immediately goes into deflect mode, but Gamble's not going to be so lucky. He gets himself two. He gets the D-suit as well, and that should easily do the job. And Seoul Dynasty only have 7 seconds to get back to the payload now. Fleta and Munchkin are playing inside the building, and right there you can see that Mickey chased him down. Munchkin's missing. Miro drops in. It's just him for the time being. Fleta needs to get there, but no! Fleta's going to run at this one. He's got no choice but to switch strike at the payload. He's chucked out. He's down. Overtime still ticking through. Gambler threw himself in there, but it wasn't enough. Effect gets picked up by Jaehong at long range, and now the Transcendence was going to be brought onto the payload. That means Zephyr can hang around. More time bought for the rest of Seoul to rejoin this one. Munchkin's forced to recall, and Zephyr's looking low. Desuited and dispatched. Jaehong coming in from the left-hand side, also down. Munchkin attempting to do the same. The stall is still continuing, but if Seoul get off this payload for any reason, that overtime's going to tick down, and it does! Yes! Now we have ourselves a series. It's one apiece going into half-time. The characteristic defensive dominance of Dallas finally resurfaces here. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, they're able to hold on. You see Mickey all smiles there. He's shaking. He's like, I don't know how that happened. But the Dallas Fuel able to get a win here in map number 2. Tie us up going into the half. It's a big map number 2. Mitch, it's something we don't see too often. You know, Dallas gets out killed in this one, 50-35, and they're able to win it.
Soul just couldn't keep that aggression going at the right-hand time. AKM coming in. Tactical Visor was big. Jaehong doing Jaehong things. We'll love to see it. We'll get more of it after the halftime break. Don't go anywhere. This is the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Seoul Dynasty came out strong on Anubis, but after a crazy fight on Numbani, somehow the Dallas Fuel have managed to tie this baby up one apiece. Welcome back. It's Puckett with the boys. We got Sideshow. We've got Reinforce. He's from England. He's from Sweden. Let's get that out of the way. Now let's talk about some video games. Johnny, in this matchup coming into today, we mentioned the history of these squads. And after watching game number 1, I was feeling like, oh, maybe we have overhyped this.
Yeah, so did I think, actually. I thought that Seoul Dynasty, they were looking so hot. OGE and Mickey, they couldn't really figure it out. But as Numbani progressed, I mean, both teams held point B on Numbani.
They always do this. They always do this. Dallas Fuel step up as it goes on. They feel like the rivalry. I swear they always step up when it matters.
Remember, stage 1, they tied, it finished 2-1. Barely finished with just 3 points on the board. This one, I hope it goes to a game 5. But let's start with game number 1 right now as we take ourselves back to Volskaya Industries. So we started this one off. Munchkin popping off on the Tracers like, oh, we don't miss Bunny. Munchkin's doing the work. Flood is looking pretty good. What were you guys seeing as this game developed?
Well, it did at the beginning when Dallas Fuel were attacking. Looked like Effect was going kind of crazy. He was making a lot of plays. Got to be said, he died quite a lot, but he was getting picks when they needed to and kind of set Dallas up for a couple of decent win conditions. But Soul is so good on these second points of kind of just delaying the B fight and using those spawns to their advantage. It took a long, long time before Dallas were able to cap in overtime. And that's why Soul are unbeaten on Volskaya.
Yeah, and Seoul Dynasty as well. They played around this Widowmaker so well and flat out managed to find the picks.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's so good on this Widowmaker. So I feel that Dallas has struggled a bit going aggressive with their new tank and actually contest this Widowmaker.
Very strong Widow play in game number 1. But Johnny, we were focused not on the DPS, more of the tanks backstage. Yes. What were you keeping an eye on?
Well, I was keeping my eye on OG. I mentioned him on map 2, of course. But I got a illustration, and I'll break it down to you why Seoul Dynasty walked away with the win. So we got a man advantage here for the Seoul Dynasty, of course. We can see that Flera, he has this angle on the Widowmaker, and he's managed to find a pick onto AKM.
It's a good angle.
Yes, exactly. But Dallas Fuel, they have the Mercy, so as we scroll this forward, they will get the rest onto AKM, so we will be back to a 6-on-6. Now, OG, I think there's some communication issues here because they managed to get the rest onto AKM, and then out of nowhere, OGE, he will pop his Winston bubble right here. So he's using his cooldown, right? But then afterwards, we're actually going to see that the Dallas Fuel will get a pick themselves onto Gambler. It's Effect top right here, and he's going to get a pulse bomb kill onto Gambler. So how is OG going to react? He wants to kill all this space and contest Flera. They're up 6 versus 5 now. And now Mickey, he's going to follow, but he's going to go this way. And so the tank duo, they're not really synced at all. And as we play this one out, we can see that this opens a window of opportunity for Soul to instantly kill OG. No defense matrix for him whatsoever. Ri Jae-hong popped the Transcendence, and this is the window of opportunity for the Seoul Dynasty. And this is why they walk away with the win on the Volskaya Industries.
Now, having said that, though, I have been impressed with OG when he lowers the tempo a little bit. When they're actually just poking at the beginning of Volskaya A, I thought he did a good job of being able to control the space. And a lot of the time, especially when AKM was playing on the Soldier, instead of going for these deep dives with Effect, he kind of leaves Effect to do his own thing and jumps back to Peel when the threat comes on. So I think he's attempting to play a number of styles, but the aggressive one seems to be the most flawed out of the styles that he plays.
It takes more coordination, right?
Yeah, it demands more coordination to play aggressive. So I like the Soldier coming out. It is a bit more passive. The Winston doesn't have to leap as far. So I kind of dig the Soldier. Play more AKM Soldier.
Okay, so it's Seoul Dynasty. Pretty convincing on that second point. They lock up Volskaya. Now we're loading up Numbani. And you remember back that stage 1 matchup? Well, the tie was on Numbani. Neither team were able to get the upper hand over each other. Early on, I was pretty impressed with what we were seeing out of Fleta and Ri Jae-hong on the defense. In fact, I looked over and I said, is Jae-hong going to be our player of the match? He's sleeping everybody and just shutting down the fuel on their attack.
As per usual.
And that's what makes him so good, right? When Diana was in style, in vogue, Jae-hong was untouchable. There was nobody like him in the world that was able to play Ana and get so much value. She's such a clutch hero, and Jae-hong excels there. We haven't really seen too much of that. Ana hasn't been in the meta that much, and Jae-hong, you know,
he still got it.
Yeah, he really does still have it.
Can you guys explain what's happening here, though? This is the last 15 seconds of the game.
Yes, and so when AKM is getting dived here, the Dallas Fuel are so good at setting OGE back in weird angles. So OGE was setting up in very aggressive positions, but then they wouldn't. Seoul Dynasty just walk past him, and they don't scout it. So OGE is able to get in their backline, cause distraction, and then jump back to the rest of his team. So they save the cooldown because they're not jumping with their Winston aggressively, and instead OGE is able to jump back to his team and peel for AKM, and then AKM gets a really nice tag visor off at the end. And Seoul Dynasty found it really difficult to get around that bend on Numbani, just because they weren't scouting out where people were early on, I think.
So who's had the biggest impact for the Dallas Fuel? Who's keeping them in this series so far in your eyes?
Well, it has to be AKM and the Soldier, I think, because they're the guy they're playing around, right? He's playing the Soldier, he's the threat to the Seoul Dynasty. So in many ways, if they can't kill AKM, the Seoul Dynasty will struggle, so you gotta shut down AKM.
All right, well, that is going to do it for our halftime coverage. Our players about ready to retake the stage. We do want to mention, though, every single show we got a signing at the end of the event. And, of course, tomorrow's signing is going to be with the Florida Mayhem. One special treat for everyone that gets tickets today. Sideshow is offering up his cast for signatures. If you come out here, you get a chance to put your name on Sideshow's cast.
It's absolutely clean. Why would you offer this? Why would you put me forward?
That is the furthest thing from clean in this venue. Absolutely.
It's got no signatures on, but you can come and sign this if you turn up tomorrow.
Come out here, draw on his arm, break his other arm. We'll get a new cast. We'll figure it out. That's going to do it for halftime coverage. Tomorrow's action kicks off at 4 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you get your tickets before then. We'll be back with Game 3 after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Things are finally getting competitive here at the Blizzard Arena as we're all tied up in the showdown between the Dallas Fuel and the Seoul Dynasty 1-1. I gotta say, I got a little feeling of warmth and some butterflies seeing Jae Hong back on that Ana Sleep Darton effect. There's just something about it. It just brought me back to the old days. Hopefully we get to see a lot more of that as the match progresses. But speaking of the match, at the end of the match, for all of our all-access viewers at home, I want to give you a friendly reminder that we'll be doing another AMA today. And today, it is with Fleta, the man, the myth, the meta himself. So all you guys who've been wondering what makes Fleta so good, make sure you stick around till after the broadcast to find that out. And guys, it's been an exciting match. We got a whole another half to go. So let's go ahead and get back into the action with our casters, Uber and Mr. X.
Thank you very much, Malik. And yes, I've been enjoying those all-access AMAs, actually. I guess they're, excuse me, less like ask me and then I answer, than more like I have a list of questions that I'm going to answer kind of thing, but still worth
qualifies as an AMA.
Yeah, exactly. Qualifies an AMA, I guess. You can't
Yeah.
ask him anything because you can only ask him, he's only answering what's on.
Rascal come in for AKM, as now you confuse everybody with all access. I watched the one with Nomi. I thought that was great. I saw the one with Ark as well. Jake 2 has done one. Those are the three that I know of that I've seen. Really enjoyed them. Wakid comes in for Munchkin as well.
Genji.
But I definitely don't want to miss the Flooded one.
No, that's going to be good. Yeah, so we're keyed in, so Genji Junkrat might be a thing. Matt, I mean, I don't know how I overlooked this, to be honest. We were talking previously about, we're talking about all the tanks that Mickey's had to play with, I guess, as Steven. We've got XQC as well, so that's like 5.
Yeah.
Like the 4 or 5, like, tanks, or like when he's had to be the main tank and play with another off tank. So, yeah, I'm sure I upset a bunch of Felix fans out there. I didn't mean to do that. You know, it's tough to count all the previous tank players with a Fuel in a hand, but hey, this one's looking pretty good so far. I'm digging it. Now Rascal comes in. I like it.
Has to be tough for Mickey. It's like every 2 weeks, like Tasmo's coming to you. He's like, hey, we just got this guy. He's a main tank. It's like, oh, Taimu's now the main tank. Like
it's literally the speed dating of like tank and off tank pairings. Everyone just sits at a table and they got a minute each.
All right, this is kind of cool. So Fledo will play
That's Para. Yep.
And Wakid will play Junkrat. I was really looking at the other side, making sure that's what we were seeing.
This is freaky.
Usually it's going to be Rascal who would play Mei. This time it'll be Effect who plays Mei. Rascal play Junkrat. So this comp is actually pretty decent against what Soul's running. You'd usually be like, oh, well, there's no hit scan to get rid of Fledo. But this comp for Dallas is so bulky and it forces fights on the point.
And Effect can just block off one of the exits for like a good deal of time, and they only have to deal with one, so it's impossible to flank them, which is so sick.
And just to remind you guys, this is not the Mei that is on live that just got patched yesterday.
No, so she doesn't cleave with their freeze.
Yeah.
That would be...
As,
Jaehong gets put on ice. Effect season peak out there.
Because we will definitely be seeing that Mei, I think, a little bit more often, as the one on live was pretty sick.
Yeah, we're all Mei mains now, Matt.
I wouldn't go that far.
Let's get you that sweet, sweet S-Armor, dude. So, yeah, so obviously Mei Junkrat, very close quarters, right? It's a composition that begs for Soul to challenge. Fletter, it's tough for him because he can't really interact. You see how we found that cheeky little angle between those two buildings? Yeah, so we can actually shoot at the point. Just kind of requires him to be a long way away and do a lot more prediction with his rockets.
And watch to see if he drops down to land a rocket barrage. Effect like put a wall up right in front of him, try and blow him up.
And it'll kill him, yeah.
Yeah, no defense matrix here. Just really OG's shield. I guess Mickey's body.
Have a riptide here.
Deflected.
Oh, okay, or he just goes and gets a kill on Rascal immediately. OGE's shield barely managed to withstand that. And honestly, the Blizzard was fine. The placement was good. But 3 players for Dallas Fuel were extinguished in a heartbeat. So they couldn't capitalize on the crowd control that they created.
Yeah, it's tough in that situation. Effect will play McCree, so you're going to have a direct counter.
To the Pharah?
This Pharah up in the sky.
Trying to smack Junkrat as well.
It's nice to see Effect play some other heroes. And we see him play Tracer so often, we forget like how good his Widow is, his McCree, 76 as well. He plays so many of those hit scan heroes, such a high level.
Guys, just the name god. The practice he puts in is pretty incredible. So, OGE, couple steps back. Perfect timing with that self-destruct to make sure no one is affected. Ah, it's an Earthshatter. Now, if OGE Earthshatter's in the woods and no one's there to see it, does he really Earthshatter? No. That's the question. Well, still managed to win the fight out here with the
still get the point.
That's right.
It's the objective, right?
That's exactly right. Well, Wakid might have something to say about that for the time being, but Dallas have flipped it over and have control. Flatter peeking in with the rockets. OGE doesn't know where to go. Left, right. Doesn't really matter at this stage. And the obnoxious Biotic Orb bounces around the point. Rascal found Jaehong and actually still the point out for like 3%, so that's something.
Gets him off the point a little bit.
Yeah. I like this comp from Dallas Fuel. It's a composition that's far more tailored to this map than a lot of others we see. A lot of teams just go for robust, overall good comps. This is very Nepal Village.
And I like how they've committed to this by continuing to fight on the point. There'll be sound barrier from both sides. Miro getting very low with Primal Rage. He has to back out. They gotta watch for Flooded with this Rocket Barrage again.
Has to be big. No, it's gonna be the flash, and Rascal finishes him off there with the remote mine. Now, Soul have to back away. They can't afford to hang around here. They get Jaehong getting staggered there. He was almost home and hosed. He was back through that doorway. But Effect removes him like William Tell. So now he'll set up on the high ground with Rascal. 1-5 for Soul. They have a Doomfist here, and why not? You've got to go for instant burst potential, peak potential in this fight. Miro's already very low on health. Gambler stunned up. Nice, she's a flashbang. Multiple people caught in that one. Flatter, they're going to get away from this one. The Deadeye finds him. And that's it. Easy as you like, and Dallas Fuel will take Village. Okay.
So you got Effect with 10 limbs, 4 final blows there, shoot 51% on McCree.
Solid.
But you know, a hero we see a little bit more coming in that I really like is Moira. This Unko puts together a crazy game in terms of healing. You know, 7,500 in the first round. That's good for 60% of the healing over on the Dallas Fuel. as Moira provides a lot, right? You know, decent amount of hero damage. You're able to, you know, fight off a little bit, and the fact that the damage that you put down also turns into healing for yourself. You know, just a lot of survivability. Really good in those close quarter tank comps.
Yeah, well, what's great about the Bardic Orb on healing mode is it travels faster than the damage orb, slower, sorry. So you can kind of walk along with it, but obviously like the damage orb is a lot faster moving. So it's important if you're trying to use an orb from a long way away as well, you might want to get a bit closer.
Well, you can always like, on your own, right? Throw the healing orb down and then do damage to the opponent and get like double the effects as well. Harry Hook, yep, he's not going to live very long there. It's,
living up to his name there, unfortunately.
Yep, gets hooked in by Zephyr. OG was already weak. This is not looking good for the Dallas Fuel. See there, Mickey's, he's like, what happened? He's like, we just began. In fact, he's dead.
Okay.
So, Soul take the point. Is that first flame? A little bit of a statement coming out here. Not taking the Dallas Fuel light anymore.
Rather similar compositions here. Effect said in that round table with,
Fisher.
Yeah. Fisher said he thinks Shorefall's the best, and Effect goes, watch out. What happens when I start playing Widowmaker? Well, here's your answer. See if it makes a difference. Unko, I mean, he didn't even really know where that shot would have come from there.
What do you do?
You kill Fleta. Hopefully, you know, Effect just got smacked into next Tuesday. Okay.
All right, so he
has an imprint of Fleta's like hand on his face.
He's got a 67% scoped accuracy, 67% crit accuracy thus far on this map.
Okay, that's
not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Okay, so Wakey now is going to sit back. Junkrat's very good at killing people when he can't see them. Kind of like pin the tail on the donkey, except it's a grenade and you're sticking it up the other team's nose.
You go one way and it's Fleta. You go the other way, it's Zephyr and Wakey. So what do you decide to do? And even if you go the other way, Unko's down. Even if you go the other way, I mean, you're going to be running into the Roadhog, and there's so much damage is going to come down. Then Fleta can just change his position, right? Get a little bit further on the bridge and just poke at you across. So.
Fleta has 78% critical accuracy right now. Yeah. It's like he can't shoot anything but heads.
Well,
I mean, he's killing Unko a lot. I mean, which is obviously slightly easy hitbox, but.
Right, so on Orisa and Mickey on Roadhog.
Dallas may not even get their ultimates charged up this round. Rascal might have a Riptire.
Yeah.
Soul Dynasty are already on their second round of ultimates here with a Riptire hooked in. That might be the opening here. Rascal picks him up, but it's responded straight away. Mickey's down. Still, they have the maintain. The Orisa's still there for Dallas. Look at them. Drop straight to the point.
They're going to res this.
Now, but Rascal can really wreck them with a Riptire and a couple good grenades. Yeah, he's going to do this. Let's see if this Riptire can get in unscathed. Oh, he's got two. No, it's actually Wakey's Riptire he's taken down.
Better.
I think he'll take that any day of the week. Yeah, keeping his team alive. Dallas captured the point here at 99%. Not a moment too soon. Rascal gets caught out playing on that higher ground, and Zephyr's trying to muscle his way in with the whole hog. Apparently not enough mid on the bones. No, the apple was in the mouth. And Zephyr's going to move forward here. Mickey's just trying to hide around the corner, then dashes straight into the Transcenders to try and stay alive, and it works out. He's hanging around. You can see off on the left-hand side, Harry Hook is keeping himself very scarce behind that pillar, because even a Valkyrie, who could be dead immediately to Fleta. Jaehong on the point, gets a face full of explosive. Dallas have a chance here to take a breath. Infrasight's active here for Soul. They need to be careful still.
Yeah, Mickey just trying to get in the way, use that defense matrix, eat up some of those shots that come in from Fleta to give Effect a fighting chance here, but you know, nobody on the point for Dallas just yet. OG coming off spawn. He does have a supercharger, so we'll see if he can get a use out of it here. That's going to be a big pick to open things up.
Well, Effect is getting dumped on in this matchup against Fleta. He's not hitting any of these shots. He's not winning the 1v1. So, yeah, of course, Fleta gets to do this as much as he likes. Wakey just wrecking it right now. OGE going down to him. Zephyr gets involved in the cleanup of the fight. That's pretty comfortable here. And that should make it even Stevens here. Unko, not much to be done. One more shot and he'll be done. That was gross.
Yeah, just insane Widowmaker play there from Fleta. So I thought they may have been able to turn it around when Rascal comes up with that Riptire, because when he's using his Riptire, a handshake there.
We handshake out here, boys.
Gambler,
we sold.
I didn't catch who that was.
We're the idol boys. We don't high five. We shake hands. Let's see what Wakey did in this round now. I mean, he was pretty filthy on that Junkrat. I've got some footage of him. And again, yeah, Junkrat does things like this. Makes my stomach churn sometimes, but good flank from him. No one was ready for it.
Yep, just comes right back down to the point, finishing off some of those players. Okay, this is what I really want to see from the Dallas Fuel. I hope they decide to run this. This will be dive coming out of the Dallas Fuel. Harry Hook will be playing Lucio, Rascal on Genji, Effect on Tracer. You would think this is their best dive lineup that they have. You would think looking at these players, this would be like devastating. So let's see if they're able to pull it off.
It should be their best foot. Everyone's kind of on their ideal
pick,
hero.
right?
Okay. Dallas Fuel fans, this is where it begins. Effect already down though to Fletter. Come around the backhand side. And Harry Hook's down to Zephyr. Miro just charging off course there. Not the ideal start for the Dallas Fuel at all. Again, it was just a couple of picks that forced Dallas Fuel to give up positioning. Soul were able to stream onto the point. When you have a Reinhardt, you have a man advantage and you have control of the point, that higher ground ostensibly. Dallas, you know, need 6 players to contest, otherwise there's no point.
Some changes come in here for the Dallas Fuel. So Uncle will be playing Moira.
I can hear Effect screaming into the mic. Boys, shut up. I just want to 1v1 Fletter.
I like how they've made some changes though. They're not going to go at it again. Rascal will be playing Pharah here up in the sky, trying to put some pressure onto Fleta. Harry Hook will be tagged to him as Mercy. You changed everything up here for Dallas, so you're pretty far behind on ultimates.
Okay, I can dig it though. If you do enough damage, Matt, that's not going to be an issue. Rascal's just pounding the point and Wakita's fallen already to Effect. We'll see what Fleta can do here. He has a flashbang cooldown available and he's getting damage onto Rascal. Consider Harry Hook's just spread eagle like a skydiver.
It's a really nice hook from Mickey, brings Zephyr in and they're able to just burst him down. So this comp doing work for the Dallas Fuel.
So you're watching a Fleta here and he's not doing anything wrong, right? He's getting good damage, but this is the McCree curse. You quite often have like highest amount of damage on your team, but like the lowest final blows, or just eliminations. So he's getting damage done, but Soul were already in disarray. And when you're McCree, you kind of shoot whatever's on the screen. Focus fire, not always the thing, especially if you're playing from an off angle to the rest of your team. So, I mean, the accuracy was great from Fleta. The rest of Soul just got kind of crunched.
So here's an interesting change. Jaehong will play Ana here. You can use the Ana, the Biotic Grenade, to force Harry Hook down from the sky, because Unko is obviously going to have to use some of that healing to provide the rest of his teammates on the ground. That'll be a charge from both Reinhardts. There'll be a Deadeye that comes through any Riptire. They know if he connects with that Biotic Grenade, all that healing from Unko goes out the window.
Yeah, so Rascal is the biggest problem for the Seoul Dynasty at any one point on this map right now. Pharah, very easy for her to get easy damage on this point, and she doesn't have to put herself in a vulnerable spot to do so. She can kind of fly around. So Fleta trades in a Deadeye for the Pharah pick quite happily. And you see Jaehong there helping out. Rascal gets picked off from long range. Again, McCree doesn't do much. He has a lot of damage fall off. He's no longer like a railgun. But Jaehong doesn't have that problem. So you throw in his damage with Fletters and you have extreme long-range kills on Pharahs.
This one of the scariest things when you're playing Pharahs is just hear like those ticks from the Ana shot connecting with you.
I hate it. Miro, a respectful step back, waiting for OG to overextend, hoping for a big Earth Shatter. Coalescence through. Miro to back up. You know, that shield's going to get broken. Oh, he gets around a corner before OGE could get the Earth Shatter, and now that's a big one coming from Miro, at least 2 for him. And OGE gets charged up against the wall. Miro, nano boost, so damage reduction very important right now. Great peel from the Ana here on the side of the Seoul Dynasty. Jaehong giving over that nano boost, and that's going to give the map over to Seoul Dynasty. Sometimes peel is more than positioning and healing. I love the use of that. And you see Miro was in a position to wreck it, Ralph.
Yeah, another close game between these two teams. Towards the end, saw Mickey try and use that whole hog to push back Miro and then land that big Earth Shatter. They're not able to do it, then Miro comes back with the effects of the nano boost. The Earth Shatter of his own closes it out for Seoul.
Okay, signs of brilliance for the Dallas Fuel so far. I think it's safe to say. We saw the ideal comp, you know, with everyone on their best heroes, Rascal, Genji, Mickey, D.Va, etc. Didn't quite work out. It's going to take more than just the right heroes. It takes time. Let's see if this next map there's any more to be brought. Nice Australia jersey, bro. I dig it.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Get hype, boys and girls, because we're jumping into it right now.
That's a huge one there from Mickey. It's all too easy for this man. Munchkin having a fantastic fight there. An effect brings out the blade. Flatter, it's skeet shooting. Unbelievable.
Oh, it's over.
Hello, welcome back. This is Zoe once again for the last time tonight, and I went on a little Sherlock Holmes mission once more, as the desk has been wondering, where is Zunba? They knew he's not going to be playing today, but they didn't know why. So of course I followed up with the Seoul Dynasty and talked to them about the lack of Zunba, and they actually told me that he's not ill, he's suffering from a minor wrist injury, and he will be resting all week. So Zephyr has to step it up tonight. Let's see how he will do on map number 4. Are you guys ready? Wonderful, so let's head back to our casters.
Minor wrist injury happens a lot with gamers as well. The strain is very, very common as well. Maybe too much patty cake with the other Seoul guys, that happens. But, I mean, we already... Don't give me that. You can't tell me you haven't seen it. Would they do that? Had that in Long Island, bro?
Nah.
You guys too busy in your fancy cars? Yeah, get it.
Yeah. We didn't do that.
It happens. So we're going to take a deep dive into the last map here. Route 66, still a chance here for the Fuel to actually, you know, tie up this series, which they'd like to do.
Yeah, and they'll keep Rascal in the game. No substitutions on both sides, so Wakid will stay in. You think that they saw something that worked with Junkrat, you know, with a little bit more of an aggressive Dallas Fuel coming in tonight. Rascal, very good Genji for this map. They want to dive. Also a very talented Sombra player as well.
Important to note. There's a heck of a lot he brings to this team. We thought he'd be playing the main when we saw it come out on the pool there. So that's one thing that we haven't really... I mean, I think it was Taimu who said it maybe a couple months ago. You know, finally, we feel like we're getting into a position where we can play everything. You know, and that wasn't quite true at the time, as we saw, with certain players exiting the lineup and such. But now, perhaps we have that again. Perhaps we have that in earnest as we fly through the map here, where Rascal, such a jack of all trades, effect really delivers on that hit scan role. Although his Widowmaker was crushed by Flutter in that previous map.
And look,